Hello, everyone. This is a homework review for the verbs homework for Hebrew for week. Oh, what week are we in? Now that the homework and the weeks and the worksheets don't match up at all, it's hard to remember, but I think we're in week 12. Most of you did a pretty good job of getting the details that you needed to get out of Logos. I just thought I'd come in and reinforce some of those and kind of show you some of the things you need to be looking for. The first one that was on your worksheet out of Exodus 3:14 through 15. I'm going to go over that one as well as the last one because those are two that have aspects that I really want you to focus on, as well as a few from the second passage, just to kind of show you what information should be popping out to you and what can kind of fall into the background. Okay, so starting then with Exodus 3:14, I'm going to jump into Logos. The easiest way to do this is to just hover over the word. So here we are in Exodus 3:14 in the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. And go ahead and click on the word of interest. In this case, it's Vayomer. And down at the bottom, you should see that it tells you there is a Vav conjunction. Amar, the first meaning of Amar, because there are two different lexical entries for that word. You can let that fall into the background. And it tells you it's a verb. Okay, no surprise. Call, so now you know the stem. Wayiktol. Now, W's are what's used to transliterate Vavs, because in German, a W makes a V sound, so it's a Vav. So what this is telling you is that the person who wrote the software believes that this is a Vav consecutive. That's how they notate it, because they're obtuse. So instead of just telling you that this is a Vav consecutive, they have code language. For that, I apologize, and I cannot correct it. So they believe this is a Vav consecutive. So instead of being a normal imperfect, it's telling you that it's an imperfect that should be translated as a perfect. So that would mean past tense. And if you look over to the right, it tells you the first meaning in the call stem is to say. So this is, and he said. Now to translate, you then go get your subject, God, and God said, preposition, which means to, and then Moshe, which means Moses. And God said to Moses. All right, now I'm going to skip ahead to the next word that I had you, or the last word, I'm sorry, that I had you focus on in this particular passage. And I'm sorry if you're looking at my face, the sun's kind of pouring in my window right now. There's nothing I can do about it. Don't look at me with my shining face. All right, so shalachni is what we're looking at here. And the reason I wanted you to look at this word is because, yes, we have a call perfect, third masculine singular, but more importantly, we have a pronoun suffixed. Now, many of you missed this nuance, and I wanted to bring it to your attention because it's important for translation. So the first thing you're going to need to do is identify what the word means. It's in the call stem, and if you look over to the right, it tells you that in the call stem, it means to send out. So this says, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. So that's our subject. The verb sent, because it's in the perfect, it needs to be past tense. And then you have to add your pronominal suffix, which is the object of the verb, me. The Lord, God of your fathers, God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, sent me to you is the next word. Okay, so make sure you're looking both for the conjunctions, the vavs, and whether or not they're consecutive or conjunctive. And then make sure that you're looking for your pronominal suffixes so that you know what the object of the verb is. Okay, so let me then jump to 1 Samuel 13. Now, mostly, I'm sure you probably realized this was an opportunity to introduce you to a few of the different stems. So let me just kind of make this as clear as I can to you. When you click on it, really, you're going to get your information over on the right. Now, if you remember from the lecture, and I'm not sure why this is the case, but if you're looking for the parsing information, it's putting it up in the top left corner for this window. I'm not sure if that's a glitch in Logos, so that's where it's at if you can't see it on the video yet. It's telling me that this verb, which is the first one that you were to look at, is niphal. Now, if you remember from the lecture, that means it's a passive form. But if you don't remember that, that's okay. You can look over to the right, and it tells you it means in the niphal. Notice the parentheses here. It says nif, be foolish. There you go. Do not be foolish is what this is saying. Okay, do not be foolish is probably the best way to translate it. Okay, so that's the easiest way to figure out how to deal with the stems, is just to rely on the lexicons for now, if you wish. And there are a few other stems. For instance, this was another one that I gave you, sivak, and it'll tell you up in the left corner that this is a verb, PL, with a second person singular pronominal suffix. So what you do then is you go over to the right, you see PL means command. This word means which. So which I commanded, and then the pronominal suffix tells you the object is you. Which I commanded you is how those two words would be translated together. So that's the process that you go through to translate verbs. I hope that's helpful. Okay, so now what I want to do is walk you through what is obviously the most theologically important question, which is number 4 from the homework. Now, I really like the way you all engage this. There's no right or wrong answer. Well, there might be a few really wrong answers. But part of what we're doing in this class is figuring out how to deal with the information that we're getting from these things and how to interpret these words that we're learning about and the different grammatical constructions. And so I want to throw some of these passages at you and see how you deal with them. And I think you all did very well overall. So I'll just share with you some of my thoughts. It's not to mean that any of you are wrong and I'm right. This is just how I interpret the text. Okay? So let me jump back into Exodus 3 and share with you some of my thoughts. Okay. So the context of this passage, and we can just jump to English here so we can all follow along easily. God has sent or given Moses a task that he is to go back to Egypt, and he is to call the people out of Egypt. So then Moses in verse 13 says, "If I come to the people of Israel and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' what shall I say to them?" And so verse 14, first and foremost, is God answering Moses' question. How is Moses supposed to identify who this God is? So with that in mind, we read verse 14. God said to Moses, Ehyeh asher ehyeh. Technically, grammatically, this simply translates, I will be who I will be. And God said, thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, I will be sent me to you. So, what does this mean? Well, first of all, if the divine name is Yahweh or Yahweh, God is not revealing his name in this verse because he never uses that word. He uses the first person version of the verb. I will be who I will be. And he said, thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, I will be sent me to you. So I would simply suggest that what God is communicating in this verse is that if they ask you what my name is, tell them I am going to be who I am going to be. So if you want to know my name, I will show you who I am. In other words, I will demonstrate to you my name by my actions, which indeed he does throughout the rest of the narrative, right? He goes about plaguing Egypt as they deny Israel the right to leave, to reveal himself as the God who is on their side, namely, the God of their fathers. That is, the God who is on the side of Abraham, who is on the side of Isaac, and who is on the side of Jacob. So who is God? He is who he is, and he is for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and thus for Israel. Okay, so I take that to just be a very vague and probably unhelpful message to Moses at this point, but it will become clearer what that means as we continue to read the narrative. Now, what I will say in the next verse is I believe God is revealing his full name in verse 15. So here we have, and God said again to Moses, thus you shall say. So he's building on the previous statement that the I will be sent me to you. Now he's saying, thus you shall also say to them, the Lord. Now we get the actual divine name. The God of Abraham, the God of the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob sent me to you. So what is God's name? Well, later on in Scripture, clearly he identifies himself with just this name. Yehvah is how it's written here. And that's because they actually don't want you to pronounce it, so they put the incorrect vowels there to mislead you so that you don't mistakenly say it. That I believe is shorthand for his actual name, which is the God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. That is God's name that he has revealed to Moses. And I argue this because this name has been revealed and spoken throughout Genesis to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So it is not the first time that God has identified himself as this. It is the first time that God has identified himself as the God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. That, I believe, is God's name, and it's who he will show himself to be throughout the narrative of Exodus. So that's my interpretation. Take it for what you will. I think I actually have a sermon on it. If you're interested, I could probably dig that out somewhere and let you all listen to it and then disagree with it and hack it to pieces. But anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you're getting the gist of how to work with Logos. I will say it over and over again. I do not expect you to be experts in this. I'm simply trying to demonstrate some of the ways you can deal with the Hebrew language so that you can continue to practice after this course is over. No mastery is assumed in this class. So I hope you're coming along with your proposals. I look forward to reading them this week, and I will definitely be putting up a video to go along with the lecture for next week. So look for that sometime this weekend. I hope you all have a great Sunday of worship, and I will see you on the discussion boards this week. Bye.